Hello, welcome to Time Between Times Storytelling with me, Owen Staton. I've been away for a while, you may have noticed, and for those of you who got in touch, I really want to say thank you very much. It meant an awful lot. Life gets on top of you sometimes, and sometimes you have to just step away from the fireplace. Take that time and sit back until you feel well enough again to be there at the time between times. However, I have some good news. I have now started an audio podcast called, believe it or not, Time Between Times Storytelling with Owen Staton. And you'll find that wherever you find your podcast, it is there, audio versions of these tales, expanded, longer, and there for you to listen to without having to look at my face, which is of course a good face for radio. But anyway, these videos will also continue. Tales to be told, wonders to behold, songs to be sung, poems to be performed. So here, as a thank you, is a new tale from the time between times. The time between times. A time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone, the sky is grey. A time when the veil between our world and the fairy world grows wafer thin. So thin that for just a few moments you can reach into the fairy realm, and for a few moments they can reach into ours. The time between times, the time that people see ghosts. The time that people see lights in the sky. The time that people see fairies. The time for tales. So sit back, relax, and pretend that you are not in your modern life with everything going on around you. Pretend you are in the middle of the forest, around the fireplace. We can hear the howl of wolves, we can hear the growl of bears, but we know we are safe here at the time between times for just a few moments. So clear your mind, sit back and relax as I tell you a tale. When the bell begins to toll, Lord have mercy on their soul, said the Venerable Bede. And he may have been talking about this tale, the tale of the Angelystor, one of the creepiest, most disturbing tales in all of Wales. Many, many years ago, in a place called Llangernwy, there is a small church called St. Dagains. And there in St. Dagains, there is an incredible legend. It was said that on October the 31st every year, at midnight, directly when the clock struck 12, a creature called the Angelystor would read out the names of all the parishioners who would die the following year. All the people of the town were terrified, and they knew not to go anywhere near the church at this time. What the Angelystor looked like, nobody could tell. What it sounded like, nobody could say. But all knew that it was there every year, whispering the names. And if your name was heard, you were surely to die in the following year. Ha! Moving to the area at the time was a man called Sean Koch. He was a tailor and a famous man, full of confidence. And once in a tavern he was sat with his friends, and they were telling the tale of the Angelystor. And he said, "This is absolute nonsense. I am more than happy, more than proud, more than confident to go at the church at the time between times and there wait until midnight strikes on Calon of Halloween and listen for the names of these people to be read out. I will come back and tell you if they happen, and if there is such a being as this Angelystor, I will give you 3 silver coins. Of that I am sure." Ha! Although he was full of happiness, full of mirth, and full of rejoicing, his friends were far more serious, and they said to him, "Sean, You may joke about this, but do not do it. Do not go there. Do not see this creature, for it may bring doom to all the village. But he would not listen. The days turned to weeks, the weeks turned to months, until that darkening of the year, the time between times of the year, the time when winter and summer is at its zenith. Sean Koch walked up to St. Dagan's church. He opened the metal gate, walked through the graveyard full of the graves going back hundreds of years, past the old tree in the centre that some say is 3,000 years old. Its crooked brows looked like hooked hands. And he came to the church itself. As the night grew dark, there was only a single candle flickering in the window that he could see. But he walked up to the church, opened the door through the metal latch. The great wooden door opened with a creak, and he stepped inside the cold flagstone stone floor. He felt a shiver down his spine as he stepped into the church and walked down the aisle. There at the front was a single candle, casting all sorts of shadows, shadows and shadows, shadows, there in the church. The great roof was high above him, but he sat at the front facing the altar. He waited, and he waited. He could look out of the windows and saw the night getting dark through the stained glass windows. It grew colder and colder, but still he sat. And then far away, he heard the revellers coming out of the pubs and inns of the town, and knew that midnight was not far at hand. He pulled out of his pocket watch, looked at the clock. It was 1:12. Ha! Well, I won't have long, will I? I won't have long, and then I can return and tell them this was all a load of nonsense. And then midnight came. Oh. He looked forward, and suddenly the candle blew out, leaving him in pitch darkness. It seemed like a wind swirled through the village, swirled through the church, and all a cold breeze went down his neck. He looked around, and although he was in darkness, the whole inside of the church seemed to swirl round and round and round, and still he sat there. When suddenly he felt a presence just behind him, the right side of his ear. He turned around, and although he could see nothing, he felt a breath on the back of his neck, and he heard a whisper, "Sean Koch, Sean Koch, Sean Koch." The next day, Sean's friends were worried about him. He had not come to brag about his victory, not come to claim his winnings, and had not opened his shop the next morning. They went up to the church, opened the wooden door, turning the metal hook. In they went, walked on the cold stone slag floor. And there in the front row was Sean. His hair had turned totally white. He looked at the ground and was stone cold dead. And on the pew next to him were 3 silver coins. To this day, in the church of St. Dagan's in Llangernnwy, people will not go near the church for they fear the Angelystor. It is a tale told at the time between times. Please, beware, for in these legends there is always some grain of truth. And that, my friends, is the terrifying tale of the Angelystor hope you enjoyed it. These tales will continue, mainly on a Sunday, but also look out for the Time Between Times podcast. Please subscribe if you will. Please give me a like, and please leave a comment down below. My name is Owen Staton. Diolch yn fawr iawn am gwrando. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you enjoy these tales. Take care. Nos da.